I was asked to talk about global leadership in the context of Asia's rise. But I'd like to start off by just sharing with you what my own shortcomings are. So as you listen to what I have to say, please file that in your background. First of all, I've enjoyed the morning coming to some of your sessions, and I found the diversity and the depth of what you have as scholars, experts, and practitioners of leadership. This is not something that I can claim. I don't have any very deep insight on leadership, despite what Mark Gerzon said. I guess I have been in various types of situations in my life where I'm considered a leader, and I've had to really try and find my way in making decisions. Let me here just share something with you. In 1992, I became a member of the Legislative Council in Hong Kong. At that time, I was not an elected politician. I was a nominated and appointed politician. It wasn't completely clear to me exactly why I was appointed, but I thought it was a marvelous opportunity, so I accepted the opportunity to do so. And what I found immediately, and just imagine perhaps that you suddenly was lifted from your life and you now sat in your national parliament. Well, there were 1,001 things I didn't understand. But you have to vote. And in my legislature, in those days, there wasn't a very clear party system. So there wasn't a party line. I couldn't just say, and how's everybody else going to vote? And that was an incredibly sobering experience. So we had to think about big issues, things that I never thought about. So I realized that despite the fact that at that time I was considered a successful businesswoman, that actually very often our own lives are relatively narrow. And when we are put in somebody else's lives, when we have to think of issues that we're not trained to, we're not fully prepared for, well, I had to think very hard. Do I support this type of old age pension system? Or do I support some kind of provident fund schemes? I mean, these were real issues that we had to discuss. And the point that I'm really trying to make here is, when something that you do matters, and it matters in quite a big way, then, gosh, it's sobering. So I had a new respect for politics. And we're always bitching about politicians. Now, this is one thing that is global. But having been there myself, I must say I do have some sympathy for them, but, we won't go into that about politicians. But I will come back in the final part of my talk to talk about politics. The second of my shortcoming is that I am from Asia. And I do have a particular Asian perspective. And what I'm trying to do is to be able to communicate, first of all, with people, from my own country. I come from a very large country. I come from a country with 1.3 billion people. Now, obviously, I haven't met them all. And of course, my country only has 1.3 billion people because there's 3/4 of other people out there. So as China rises in the world, we have a necessity, we have a desire, we have an interest to connect with people from other parts of the world. And in large country, like yours here in the United States, big countries have huge variations. The East, the West, the North, the Center, it's all not quite the same. So even for us to understand each other, that's not so easy. And China is one of those countries where there are periods in our history where we have looked intensely inward. But of course, as we try to come out, we have to look outwards. And looking outwards, it's often not so easy, because we don't necessarily understand what we see. We're not very good with foreign languages. I'm told Americans have the same problem. Well, we are desperately trying to learn foreign languages because we know that's a facility we need to have.